everybody, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to December Daily 2022. Today I am working on story number 9, which is going to be happening on the back of yesterday's story number 8. Now I want to immediately call attention to the fact that on YouTube a bunch of you had a great idea for me, which I have no idea why I couldn't think that through yesterday, related to this, which is to just pull this part up and then adhere this part on the back, adhere the pattern paper part on the back so that you wouldn't have to see the adhesive anywhere, which is a brilliant idea. So that is, I am going to do that. So that's just going to require pulling this up and then re-adhering it down onto here, which I think will be fine. And then on the back of this page, what I already have here is like on the back of the star, I just did a bunch of word phrase stickers. And then I have a couple pictures of the girls from this week. They had a little photo shoot out on the out on our porch, which was a request. And so what I ended up doing is I just ran this through my printer. So I did a test version first. I set up my journaling here inside of a circle so that I could take this one and then punch it out to the 4 by 4 inch circle, and then it can go down on here, and then I'm going to have this be a flip up. So it's either going to, one of these is going to be on the front, probably this one, the hug one, and then this one will be on the inside there. So these are both going to get circle punched, and then I'm going to figure out a way to attach it on there. I'll give you guys a template for this. I think I can do that. Let me check on my stuff there if you're wanting to do this. But I basically just set it up, run it through the printer, then I temporarily adhere this on top so that I can have this circle shape here in the with my journaling and everything. So let's see if I can get this in the right place. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to get it in the right spot when it's too small, but you know what I can do is actually just like adhere it on here, and then because it's still temporarily adhered, and then I have more flexibility, but I need to move it down a little bit. Sometimes it's just hard when it's that 4 by 4 size. So here I can see to myself, that looks good. Inside the circle, the line is fairly straight. A couple things I like about this is that this then also kind of nods to what was on the other side here, right, where I had part of the journal card there. So I think I'll probably add something along the middle of the seam. I always call that the seam. Come over here. So this is going to get adhered down on here, and then it's going to have, we're going to make a flip up with this. But I do want to put, maybe I'll do like a black and white, maybe that'll mimic one of those. I need to look. Check and see what I got, and then I'm going to need to make this into a flip up. So we're going to need to be able to make the photos like that. So I lay this in here upside down on this one in particular. Some of the punches you don't have to lay them upside down. You can just hold it in there and it works just fine, but this one seems to work better this way. Then I can actually see what's getting punched. So I do the same thing with this one. These were so cute. I was like, oh, you want me to take a picture of you hugging? Okay. While I was looking at these pictures, I was also thinking about, you know, when we think about December Daily and we think about the stories that we're telling, and I'm wanting to give encouragement to be in the season that you are in, right? And this is the season that I am in. And that's why I'm always encouraging people to be a translator, because you might not have kids, but you probably have 2 pictures of something and then a circle, right? And some journaling that you could add on there too. Okay, let's see if one of these guys maybe. Just kind of see, do I want something like that? I like that it brings the red in, so maybe that will make the most sense there. There is the beige one though too. Let's see what that one looks like. Yeah, I think I like the red because I like the addition of the red, but maybe I just have so that's obviously an option. There is a green too. Let's see, what's the green one? Yeah, I think I want it to be red. So either red and or, let's see what kind of washi tape I might have. That Fa La La one's always very cute. I kind of wonder what this looks like on top. And it's just a little bit too much. Part of what I'm looking at is, because it's vellum, which generally is great, it's like I want it to just be white behind there. Let's see what this, oh, it's too much. Okay. Or a strip of pattern paper I feel like would work there too. Lots of options. This is the black and white, which is always... Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim just a little bit of white that can go behind that vellum. All right, so I just simply took it over to my trimmer and trimmed off about the same amount so that I could adhere it directly on there and not have the see-through part of the vellum in effect. Most of the time I like that, but for some reason in this case, because it was going over the seam, I think that I just wanted it to be a little bit cleaner. So I'm adding double-sided tape, red line tape, right onto that piece of paper that I trimmed, and then I'm going to adhere the vellum on top of that, and then I'm going to put down another piece of red line tape down on top of my circle there, and then add this on, actually add it onto the seam. So I like this in the end. I like it. The red is a little bit different than the other red that I'm going to end up using, and I'm fine with that generally. There's some back and forth that I do later on in the process with red word phrase sticker and a red tab sticker where I'm like, oh, it's not the same red. Anyway, just letting you know that I think about those kinds of things. But most of the time with the colors, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter if it's, doesn't need to be the exact same color. And so generally, I'm fine with that. Now, at this point in the process, I wasn't sure how I was going to actually construct this, if it was going to flip up or flip to the side, or was I going to use a brad that might twist it off to the side, just like right there. Like I wasn't exactly sure, but as I looked at it, what seemed to make the most sense to me was to create a flap that was going to allow it to flip up, that would be adhered, partly to the back of the journal card and then also in between the two photos. And so I'm just kind of beginning that process here. Also looking a little bit about, do I want the journaling to be tucked under that top circle? The top circle, in the product play workshop, I did give a cut file for that top circle, which is the same size as the outside of the chipboard. Just FYI, in case you were in that, that's where that came from. And then I just cut it out with a past pattern that has some red, it's got like red plus signs on it, is essentially what it is. So for the flap, what I ended up doing was just cutting out a random piece of paper there that would allow me to flip it up from the top. And so I'm just kind of establishing how that's going to set on there, where it's going to go. I'm going to end up using red line tape to adhere the flap to the back of this photo that's going to sit on top. And then the other photo is going to be adhered on the bottom side of that. So definitely a little bit of construction with this one. I'm a little bit worried that the paper might end up breaking, which is not that big of a deal because I can redo it in a different way. But I'm not sure that it's actually sturdy enough with the paper. It's the kind of thing, it's not really that there's that many people that are flipping through my album. It's more mainly how many times did I flip it up and down today while I was trying to build it. One other thing that I did is I went in and I cut like little triangles from the edge there because it was folding over. It didn't have a curve to it. There's not a curve on there. So if you cut out a little triangle from each edge, then it sits down a little bit more, is a little more hidden, I would say, the piece that's going to flap up, the flip up the flip up piece of the flap. Anyway, so this was fun. I think this was a fun way to construct this page together. And at this point in the process, I still am planning that outside circle on the top is going to sit on top of my journaling. I do go back in there and I end up cutting that and tucking it underneath the journaling. So right now the journaling's underneath, and I'm not sure if I caught that with the video or not, just because it seemed like I liked it better without having that other circle on top there. So these are the kinds of things that you can decide as you are constructing your own project. Quite a number of times on this one for me, lifting it up and then lifting it back down again, just kind of trying to assess, is this how I actually want it? There I'm going to be adding on the red line tape that will actually officially attach it to the journaling circle. Up to this point, I've just been allowing myself to move things around a little bit more. And I know sometimes my head gets in the way, but I'm sorry, I'm right on top of it to try to see where, are things lined up. In the end, I really like how this one came together. I like the flip up part. I'm just not certain that it's going to be sturdy enough. So that's the only thing that I'm worried about. And I think maybe a couple things I could have done. I could double it up, make it a little bit thicker, that paper a little bit thicker, but we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted if it ends up falling apart there. So now I have my photos in place. I have my journaling in place. I have the basics of my flip up there. Everything's kind of adhered together. And I was thinking I would like to add a tab sticker along the outside edge. So this is where it gets into the part where I'm picking the reds, right? So I'm going to lift up those photos that I adhered together already. It's easy enough to just open them back up, but I still am gentle when I'm doing that. I think that's what I want to communicate to you about that. So I have that on there, and that says together, which I think was a cute addition. I'm always turning it over and seeing what can I see on the other side. A little bit of that flap does stick up. This is where I'm going in and following your suggestions from yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere the pattern paper to the back. See that? So where the plastic is going to get tucked right inside there. That was a great tip. Thank you very much for that. And then I'm going to put my journaling on top. That is the way to hide the adhesive. That was I was really happy. I was really happy. Thanks you guys for figuring that out for me. That made it all the more easier today. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down and then add or re-stick down the washi tape. It definitely does, though, at this point need the paper clips to keep it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and keep those here on this particular page just to keep it closed. You could also use one of those like little watch hands. Those things are really cute. You could add that on there somewhere to hold it down. But I think that this worked for what I was wanting to do there. Now, after I had those initial pieces in place, I was thinking, do I want to add something else on here? Do I want to add a little title? I grabbed a couple of those cardstock words. I thought joy looked really cute on there. And then I ended up going with love. Joy would have been fun though, because on top of joy, you could like cut off the little part that's like the dotted I, and you could put your own, star there, or something else like that. I am just doing rolling adhesive on top of this die cut word, and I'm going to add it right on top there. And then I will be adding a word phrase sticker on the bottom, which is one of the red ones. And then I'm also adding on, I had a couple of these gold glitter brads. I think I only had 3 left. I'm going to order some more. I saw them on Amazon. There's something that I've added to my project over the years, and it's always one of my little favorite things to add in. It just feels like it's like just the right amount of something. So I added it above the word love. I added it to the top photo as an actual brad. And then the last 2 that I added on there, I actually cut off the feet and then went ahead and adhered it down with a little glue dot. So like how this one came together. It was a story that I think was really worth telling. And if you guys have questions, as always, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you back here again tomorrow.